Meanwhile, near the moon, Starvin Marv sits on the throne of his phallic warship and gives it his best Palpatine.
At ease.
I'm sorry, just busting your chops. I couldn't help myself. So who's next on the hit list? Next is OOO, my lord. Cool. So who the hell are you? I'm Sylvester, the Silver Rider Hunter. Just made of silver mine. Don't exclusively hunt the silver ones.
I guess that was my fault for asking.
Back to planet Earth, we see Kamen Rider OOO's alter ego Pajama Sam running from baddies at a construction site with his quasi-love interest, who isn't really worth giving a name. Sensing that there's a camera on him, OOO changes to his rider form and his funky battle theme starts to rock. Damn it, it happens again. OOO's supporting riders, Scruffy Iron Man and Bad Teeth Iron Man, show up to turn the fight theme into some crappy other thing. As that goes on, Starvin Marv is smirking to himself all cool, but suddenly he's fired on by lasers! Marv defensively twirls like a ballerina to face his attacker. By which I mean twirls like a ballerina for no reason, then faces his attacker, who as it turns out is the blue version of Dick! Yes, it's Dick's own supporting rider, who dresses pretty much the same as Dick. They call this rider D-End, because he always wants to get the last word in. I'll just call him the Interrupter, because everything I do is stolen from late night. Starvin Marv asks for Blue Dick's name, and crap, I just gave it away. Well, what the hell, movie? How was I supposed to know you'd start having characters learn each other's names, or maybe what the hell they're doing there in the first place? So Captain Starvin Marv asks, who be? Me, the Interrupter! I mean, I have no intention of giving my name like some kind of pirate. What does that even have to do with being a pirate? You are really annoying, so you're going to turn me into purple stuff? Yar. Ellipses. The pair then duke it out, by which I mean continue to talk after their toy sword and toy gun somehow get locked together. I have heard of ye. Ye be me, the Interrupter! Preposterous! Wherever would you get that notion? And then there's a proper bit of fighting in which Starvin Marv kicks the crap out of the Interrupter. He also purple stuffs OOO's Iron Man pals while he's at it. I'll say while saying, well, that was ironic. Because I'm awful. After that, Starvin Marv gets a solid hit on the Interrupter with the toy sword of Shinkenja Red Man, which is the sword that's the size of 2 people and also on fire. But even that's not enough to finish the job, so he switches back to his normal toy sword he got from a Halloween shop for $8.99. But for still being there, and for being a nice guy, OOO jumps in front of the Interrupter to save him. And for also not being stupid, he tackles Starvin Marv instead of just taking the hit. Of course, as punishment for his common sense, Pajama Sam gets purple stuffed seconds later anyway. Pirates, man! You're tearing you apart? Yes, but don't worry about it! And just like that, most likable characters out of the movie. For the life depth, the Interrupter grabs OOO's sort of girlfriend and warps away with her. He can do that, by the way. He warps through these watery, gray Mario 64 walls, one of which takes the pair to the next scene, where Dick is doing the exact same thing Starvin Marv was doing, except in lieu of a Palpatine impression, he's trying to find his own voice. Go Sage! Hold on, this isn't right. Go Sage! Go Sage! Go Sage! Oh, I remember what I did. I always had a frog in my throat. Hang on. Go Sage! You put them on the list? You nitwits, those guys are from 2 years ago. We can't afford that kind of cameo. You hunt them off screen while I stay here looking sad. Yes, sir. But what he doesn't know is that I, Professor Straight, am planning something off screen. Also, I might have a bit of a crush on him. Also, admittedly, my plan is sort of predictable. Me double-crossing him with the other villains on account of our being villains. Are you gonna get going or what? Right, at once, my lord. Lord sounds old. I like Prince. I would never have guessed from your fashion sense. The Interrupter and Girlia OOO slip back to the warp room, but Dick cuts them off. So it's Blue Me, is it? Well, you know. By refusing to join your group of villains, I have become the worst villain of all. Hold on, is that the single dumbest sentence in history? And I put that in your head as revenge for shooting me in the face. But I was certain that we weren't supposed to bring it up. That's right, I forgot. You know, I bet that had something to do with you shooting me in the fucking face. Do you know, ever since then, I've had this recurring dream where some fishhead guy kills me? What the hell am I supposed to make of that? Anyway, stay right there. I think I'm gonna find the worst designed monsters in here to kill you. As Dick goes off to make good on his word, the Interrupter and Sammy's girl are able to get away by way of the warp wall where they were. Wabbit season. Once they get back to planet Earth, they meet the green and blue Gokaigers, who are both still moping for their lost teammates. But the villains can Mario Warp too, it turns out, so soon enough there's a tiger with a jetpack and a Gutter 2 cosplayer looking for a fight. For that, the Gokaigers make to be making with the fighting, Gaz and Glaven. But the Interrupter hangs back, doubtless still recovering from Dick's mind games. That is, until the very stillness of his heart is interrupted by... What? Stillness interrupted. That means it's beating. It works. Shut up. So he's inspired by the sight of the girl I should have stuck with calling Girlia OOO, throwing barrels and such at the villains. So the invigorated Interrupter immolates the ilk of ill-willed malcontents. Indubitably. Imilluminati and iCarly. There, it's out of my system. The enemies dust our heroes introduce themselves to themselves.
Thanks be to ye for saving us. I be
Green Man of the Gokaigers?
yes, and ye be
Me!
Kamen Rider the Interrupter.
Did you say Kamen Rider? You son of a bitch, a rider purple stuffed our friends, yarg! The enraged Gokai Blue Man starts swinging his toy sword at the Interrupter, also his weapon. All of the people who ride motorcycles have to die because one of them's a jerk? Admittedly, to hear it from someone else's mouth, it doesn't seem quite like sound reasoning. Yarg. Also, it feels like we're slipping into a social tolerance PSA. That it does. Well then, a truce to move this along, but I reserve the right to kill you in a heated moment of prejudice later. An awkward transition later, the same lot are recapping the movie's plot, which all four of them already know. They do so having set up camp on the Flying Gokaiger ship, which is doubtless about to see some action because that is the worst place they could possibly hide. Yarg! If only we knew where to find Dick. Probably more important we know where Decade's heading, which I do! Actually, we can teleport there right now if you want. The Gokaigers agree, and Girlia OOO isn't going to do anything for the rest of the movie, so who cares? A fair warning, once we warp it'll suddenly turn into daytime. We're pretty much directing ourselves at this point. The team warps to another part of where they were fighting before the pointless interlude. There they do find Dick purple stuffing a random Sentai team for being different. Gokaiger Blue Man rushes Dick as to prove his frustration for setting up the Interrupter's dick joke earlier, but he gets his ass beat. That is, until Starvin' Marv shows up to save the day. Except he's still kinda evil, so Blue ducks behind a corner with the rest of his ragtag team of complete pussies. And from their puss corner, they watch Marv challenge Dick to a good old-fashioned mid-movie duel. Which starts out as an okay fight, despite Dick's need to hold up his cards of power and say, "I'm about to use this," before doing anything. And then we're back to the Gokaiger ship at night. No, you didn't miss anything. The fight didn't finish. It barely started. All the same, jarring cut to the ship at night. This film was a huge theatrical success, by the way. So inside the ship, Team Pusscake is collectively moping, which leads to Blue taking another stab at stabbing the Interrupter. "The motorcycle man is evil. They must all die, you're back to thinking, even though we settled our differences just a few minutes ago?" "Well, you said it." "Not you, Yarga." Sadly, eventually, Blue Man gives up on his homicidal bigotry. At least the homicidal part. So the Interrupter calls him a puss, which is a bit like if I called out someone else for, say, stealing jokes and having a schizophrenic discourse. Feeling threatened by the Interrupter's accusation, Gokai Green Man steps up his own puss levels to maintain the championship.
"Whoa, now easy. I think we should all just hug it out, yar."
It makes Gokaiger Blue Man cry a little, but in the end they do solve their differences by bro-hugging. The interrupter then suggests going back in time to ask the first Sentai team why Sentai and riders can't coexist. If not because that's a conclusion the team just randomly came to after agreeing to work together.
That sounds great, but how exactly are we supposed to
go back in time? Don't worry, I stole pudding from one of the time-traveling demons who used to possess the body of one of the riders not in this movie.